Why is it that when you come to the ER, they take forever to see you? Like, there's nothing wrong with you.
Okay, guys, it's time for a couple duets. I came across a couple videos that I really want to talk about. These are all TikTok. Go into their pages, check them out. You know, I watch a couple of them. But first one I want to talk about is this guy talking about why does it take forever for an ER to tell you that nothing is wrong. Let's start right there. If you already know nothing is wrong, you don't belong in an ER.
Why do you think it's called the ER? Right? It's an emergency.
ERs do a very good job at triage. You came through the door and you talked to a provider, whether it was a nurse or whether it was a doctor. You gave them your signs and symptoms of what was going on, and they determined you are not an emergency. What you consider an emergency is not what everybody else in healthcare considers an emergency. Yes, it's something that you're going through. I get it. You're not used to it. You don't understand how to deal with it. But those professionals that you came to seek information from do understand it and realize you're not going to die. And they're going to come to you as soon as they possibly can.
There'd be like 30 doctors out here, 65 nurses, and not one comes see you for like 3 hours later.
Okay, there's some large cities that have 30 doctors working, but most of the places that I've ever worked, now I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia, I'm off in Chester County, we don't have 30 doctors working in the ER that I know of, and 65 nurses, they're all busy. They're responding to call bells, they're dealing with people that aren't sick, and they're dealing with the emergencies that are, including all the ones that come in from us, EMS. We bring in a lot of the sicker patients and they get priority. And just because you take an ambulance doesn't mean you're going to go right to a room and be seen emergently. You may be triaged just like everybody else and may go to the waiting room just like everybody else.
I've literally been here for 3 hours.
It's just crazy. Been in the ER since 5 o'clock this morning, and it's 9:03.
3-hour wait in an emergency room? It's not that bad. You got to realize there are multiple departments that are involved in this. You have x-ray department, maybe going over to the lab work and waiting for that kind of stuff. Not only does the lab have to take care of the emergency room, they have to take care of the entire hospital. So it takes time. It's not instantaneous. My question is, why are you in the ER at 5 o'clock in the morning? Looking at your face, realizing sick versus not sick, which we're very good at learning how to do. Probably not sick. You could have went to your family physician the way you should, or even an urgent care, who would probably send you to the ER anyways. But go to them first. Why tie up an ER for not being sick?
The ER need to do better. Something has to give.
With that statement, I 100% agree. ERs do need to do better. There is a lot of inefficiencies that happen. However, it's not the ER's fault 100%. It's the floors that can't get anybody up. How many times are ER beds tied up with people that are spending 1, 2, and 3 days at a time in an emergency room? It's also the system of people going to an ER that really aren't that sick and can be managed by your family physician.
This is ridiculous. We post this, share it. I want to hear you guys comment about it, because the ER should give something back.
So you truly asked for us to comment back on your video. You're saying that the ER should give something back. What do you expect for them? You're going to them when they are completely booked. They have every room filled. They are working nonstop 24 hours a day. You showed up at 5 a.m. and yet you expect them to drop everything they're doing for you. What about your neighbor? What about the person next to you that is feeling the same way? Why do you get priority over them? How would you triage? It can't be first come, first serve, because one person is going to be much sicker than the other one, and you have to triage that appropriately. Otherwise, in the ER, in the waiting room, people will die.
Like, if it's past a certain time, they should not charge your insurance.
Oh, this cracks me up. If it's past a certain time, you shouldn't charge your insurance. So now there's a time limit on treatment. Wouldn't you want them to spend the most available time they can with you to make sure that they get an accurate and good diagnosis for what your problem is? Or do you want them to go, oh, you got a cough? I spent 3 minutes with you. Go away. Here's your prescription and go see your own doctor. Or do you want them to take the time and actually listen to you? There's only so much time in the day. 24 hours is all we get. What do you expect? So not charging an insurance and not getting paid for the service they're actually doing? Ridiculous. Matter of fact, they should be paid more.
How do you feel about EMS personnel carrying weapons?
I think there is a time and place where a weapon is called for in EMS.
North Carolina House Bill 975 is a bill that's passed the House. It's not signed into law, but it would allow EMS personnel to carry pepper spray, whether concealed or otherwise.
Is pepper spray really a weapon? It's more of a defense, like a taser, maybe a beanbag round. It's not really a weapon, in my opinion.
I'm someone that has traditionally believed that EMS should not carry weapons, they should not wear body armor, they should not look tactical.
I'm traditionally somebody that says there are certain times where weapons should be carried. Not necessarily a pew-pew, but if you're calling a taser, you're calling pepper spray, you're calling a baton a weapon, I think it is. And body armor, it's called for. There are too many risks out there. There's no reason we can't dress it down and not look tactical, but yet still have body armor to protect us. Would you go into a fire without having the correct protection for a fire?
When you give the appearance and have the ability to be able to harm a patient, I think that makes it very difficult to build trust with vulnerable people.
Having the ability to harm a patient? What do you think all of our medications are? They are the ability to start breathing, to stop breathing, their ability to start a heart, to stop a heart. Any of our medications can harm a patient. So what's the difference? If you trust me with one thing, you should trust me with another.
So in that regard, my initial reaction to the pepper spray bill was hard no, absolutely not. But I think my views have softened a little bit on that. I'm not in favor of every paramedic or EMT being able to carry pepper spray on all ambulances without any sort of safeguards or restrictions or conditions.
I agree with this statement. Not everybody should be carrying some kind of weapon or some way to defend themselves. They need to be trained, just like an EMT, AEMT, or paramedic. You have to have the skill set and the education to do it right.
But I can see where there's some specific contexts where it would be appropriate for EMS personnel to carry pepper spray to be able to protect themselves and ward off an attack.
The very specific context that he's talking about is not in the 911 service that he's talking about. I would like to see it across the board for any tactical service that has the training.
I also think that it also kind of blurs the lines between us, a profession that is supposed to be providing care to someone, and someone like law enforcement, someone who, although they are meant to serve and protect, they still have the ability to incapacitate or harm or even kill someone. And I think that when people can't tell the difference between us, that makes us less safe.
The lines have already been blurred. Whether it's the uniform that we're doing or the fact that 911 is called, many of the lay public don't know the difference between us, an officer, or firefighter.
So I want to know how you feel about this, how you feel about EMS personnel carrying pepper spray and EMS personnel being armed. And I'm asking this in good faith.
There are two different questions here. He's talking about people carrying pepper spray. I would classify that as a non-lethal, not weapon. It's a defensive mechanism like a taser, a baton, versus a weapon, pew-pew. Those are two different questions. I think on an ambulance, you could be able to carry a pepper spray. You should be able to carry a taser, even a baton to protect yourself. A pew-pew, that needs to stay on the tactical environment under very specific guidelines.
I can get good faith responses. You don't need to rage at me and say, I guess I don't know what it's like to be shot at 3 a.m. I am very, very aware of the risks to our health and safety when we're out there in the field. We all know what happened to the paramedic in Kansas City, right?
The EMS Avenger definitely has his years of experience behind him. He understands our environment. There's really no argument here. There's really no rebuttal. The question is, where is the line between offensive and defensive responses to violence towards EMS providers?
I just believe that when we become perceived as just another entity that can harm the community, that ultimately increases that risk rather than decreasing it.
I've heard this said time and time again. Perception is reality. And it's really up to us to educate the public on what we do and how we act and how we handle ourselves when a situation comes. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate the EMS Avenger. Thank you for posting this. This is definitely a topic that needs to be addressed in today's world. Thanks for watching. See you again. Stay safe. Take care of each other.